and how they form an infrastructure that opens up an important perspective to our quest for what we're going to pursue. So why an infrastructure? So our quest for significantly boosting our collective IQ, so that's the capability we want to boost. So he says, all right, this is something that emerged for me in the early 60s, that our capabilities really is an infrastructure, and your capability to do your primary professional goal is dependent upon a whole assortment of other capabilities, which in turn are dependent upon lower ones, etc. And I guess you can see his cursor. So you pick a capability in there, you say, aha, that's something really good. And if you improve that significantly, the capability that depends upon it quite a bit finds that you have this new component capability that's significantly better. Well, it'll change the way it works, which changes its dependence upon its subordinate capabilities and reflects and changes on up the line. So there's this effect up and down that infrastructure of making significant changes at any point in it. And so realize this thing, that it's no simple matter. So by the late 60s, early 70s, the term of office automation came out, and this automation idea, and I said, hey, wait a minute. Really what's happening is we're augmenting people, and here's the structure for that. The automation said, I'm bringing in these tools, boy, it's going to automate. And I said, well, wait a minute. For everything important you bring in that, you're going to be changing what I call the human system. And the paradigms, or the organization structure, the procedures you follow, the customs, the methods, the language, and on and on and on. And I didn't find any other name for it. I just invented the human system. And so the two of them are what really comprise your capability infrastructure. So if you say, you get really dominant about, I'm a technologist, boy, I'm going to cure the world and come in, you realize that you're coming in, all these other things change. And then you start thinking about that, and you realize that back through all of the generations and generations and generations, a steady flow of artifacts appeared that changed things. But as they changed, the human system changed immensely. Agricultural tools, technology came in, hunter-gatherers could settle down. My gosh, then they started wanting to stay on the land, et cetera, et cetera. So you got some rules about that. And then they started saying, I can grow more of this than something else can, so I'll start trading. So the whole business about trading go. Well, commerce went. Well, commerce means you need some kind of money or something like that to flow. Well, also then you need some kind of sort of social structure about laws. All right, you need some trading, so towns would grow, et cetera. So the whole thing about civilization just began to evolve out of that. And you go back and look at many other. So I think about, well, how about the stupid invention of an elevator? It's going to automate your stair climbing. Oh, yeah? Well, yeah. See, now maybe 6 stories was about as much as people could tolerate when they walked it, but suddenly you could get much higher buildings. Oh, so the whole thing about architectural structure engineering changed. Oh, heating and ventilating had to change greatly because of that. Oh, then the traffic, because so many people could come and have office buildings and such. So it just changed cities. It changed everything. So elevator caused a huge change. So we have to think about all that. So there's more to this picture that's important. That all of this rests upon the basic human capabilities, and I isolated these 4. And I would like to find people that can help me with some more of that sometime. But all of that depends upon these basic capabilities. And oh yes, you have to develop the skills and the knowledge and the training of that. And then you say, okay, I sort of have a system here, that these 4 boxes sort of what augment humans, and that's where we are. So we are living within an augmentation system all the time, and we grow up in it and take it for granted. And so then we come about with, hey, we can bring all this computer technology and it's going to change everything. It's sure as hell is going to change a lot, see? And so he says, okay, now we want to talk about interface, and that's what, in this segment, we're talking about the interface issue. And I said, okay, what interface? Oh, computer-human interface? No, wait. The interface is between the basic human capabilities and this whole augmentation system. And if you really begin to realize the amount of learning and skills that you've absorbed by the time you're as partway grown up as you are, because you're all so young, you know, that it's just immense. And then to find in the 70s, something like that, this mandate that the computer tools had to be easy to learn. You just say, oh, why? Well, if you're thinking of it's going to automate the secretary, well, okay. But I was trying to tell the world, look, every knowledge worker in the future is going to be working very differently, and the whole problems are going to change. And you got to assume that you got a lot of learning. So in my mind, that one kind of paradigm has done a great deal to cripple the potential for really going after what can we do to really get capable. So if capability is your target, you says, how can I build a capability? You don't set some artificial cost level like this in the world to do that right, see? And also, one of the things is the business world taking up on this. It turns out their paradigm, you know, yes, it made a lot of difference in how we get the standard of living we get, et cetera. But if the businessman had to do business by selling their products and software products, and it has to be easy to learn, and I'm going to market it and push for all the marketing thing, that again is inhibiting very much the exploratory evolution of how you get real capability. Because down here in real capability, we're going to start finding different ways to use these basic human capabilities and say, oh, no, that's nothing in it. Oh, well, just go back and think of the alphabet coming along and writing. And if you realize that people had very good perceptual machine, you know, they look around and they see the forest or the trees or all this thing like this, and they don't have to look at all the details of everything. Boom, that's a tree. Boom, that's this. So this perceptual machinery is in there to convert what your sensory apparatus picks up as basic sensory things and converts it into conceptual perception, stuff like this. He says, oh, boy, that's magic. Okay, so how does that affect your alphabet things? Well, you got words. There's vowels and consonants coming out as represented by these characters. And you don't look at it and says, g, d, d, a, you don't do that. Your perceptual machinery just converts it. Good day, boom. And it's just like you look around the room and boom, you just recognize everything with the barest glance. So if somebody who'd grown up in a cave and never had a social life was brought into your world, and the things that you take for granted would just be very, very hard for that person to adapt to and learn. And so you think of the flow of these audio sounds coming from me, and you don't decipher them in anything near a conscious term. It's a flow of concepts, sort of like this. So he says, oh boy, there's that. So, hey, one of the basic things that the computer can provide for you, very, very different ways it can give you sensory stimuli to represent knowledge. Oh, well, why don't we start using that? Oh, no, because the way in which knowledge is portrayed is a page of a book and the writing of that. Well, why is that? Well, that's just the way it is. So there are paradigms get anchored to that, rather than saying, hey, the computer can give us very, very different, symbologies, etc., like this. So, but you're still today, the deal is you're emulating a printed page as you scan through the documents itself. So in the 60s, when I finally got a chance to get some support money and started doing things, I was saying, hey, look, you look at a document, why don't you have different views a computer could do? First one we tried was saying, oh, let's just go like this, and bingo, you just see the first line of every paragraph. And it was surprising the payoff that had right away. And, then I want to jump to that one, it opened up. So then the jumping was much more flexible. And we didn't have the kind of technology in those days that you could just do the scrolling so well, so we just jump. Well, then you say, let's have better addressing. Let's have so that every object is addressable. So I can make a link that points to any object in another document or this document, not just to the document. So we were doing that by the mid-60s. just a matter of course. Then there are many other things. You says, well, while I've got this high-level addressing, which includes things like indirect addressing, somebody else has a link sitting there, or you do, and my address to my link says, go to that point and take that link. And then you had even more. When you get there, go to the next paragraph, and then from there start looking for something with the content X. That's what an address or a link could actually do. And when you get there, here's the view you want to have. And with all that addressability, then the ability to do commands. I want to move that object from there to there. There are many ways you then could flexibly point it out and tell it where to move. And then you begin to realize we have all these different objects. We don't want to be limited just to scroll text and cut and paste that. We can say, I want to deal with a word, or a phrase, or a paragraph, or a whole branch in a hierarchical organization or something. So anyway, so all that grew and grew. And then the vocabulary got to be such that, well, it got pretty hard for beginners to come in and learn, so we fixed it. So when you booted up, you had whatever limited or more and more advanced vocabulary stuff offered to you, and people could learn very, very quickly on limited vocabulary. And it was surprising then, once they go around and watch other people, hey, what did you just do? Oh, I just transposed those things. What the hell is transpose? Well, it's a verb that means you interchange two objects. Geez, I want that. Well, hey, what is a different noun you just used? Oh, it's something we call a group. What's a group? Well, it's a consecutive set of similar level nodes. Oh, I see. Oh, that's good. I want to have that object in there like this. So the vocabulary for both the verbs and nouns and qualifiers just would grow. And when people came in, it was easy to learn and easy to grow. But the other people watching it from the outside world, they'd watch us operate, so everybody wanted to show them the best thing to do. And so the reputation was that ours was extremely hard to learn, etc. And the artificial intelligence people on one end and the office automation on the other happened to be sort of populating pretty well the peer reviews and proposals, etc. So by 1977, when we were supporting people all over the network, etc., with real work, we just suddenly found ourselves turned down and run out. So a very important lesson about the business of paradigms, right at the top of that human system thing, that the paradigms that are there and are operating are things that are going to have extremely significant effect upon how your future is viewed and how the different pathways into that future could be considered as practical, and how to get in gear and go about it. So that's one of the biggest things. So how do you set about evolving paradigms? Things like this. So this is a social phenomenon that's very hard to get. And it's sort of like saying, okay, that affects extremely heavily how a society sort of adapts to what its picture of the future is. So the paradigms are evolving much more slowly than are all of the changes that are being accelerated, the other changes. So if we're farther and farther behind with our paradigms about what the options are in the future and what's reasonable to consider to go after it, etc., we're sort of doomed. And I got this picture of this clumsy vehicle that's not being steered very well, can't see very far, going faster and faster, and I like problems. So there are a few other ideas in here, and I can't see a clock from here. Oh, I started a little late. How do I decide when to quit?
Take the rest of the day.
Oh, well. Thank you. Anyway, here's a business scale. Here's the different scales of activity. Individuals, communities, complete world, complete country, a world. Okay, here's what you're trying to do with one person, operative IQ, collective IQ. Okay, oh, so we claim that this augmentation model is valid over that big scale. So if that's the case, then we have a lot of things to think about that you know, I don't get much dialogue about that model, which I really would like to do. It's been there for decades, and it's just ruled me completely. But so this kind of collective IQ, so the purposely pursuing accelerated evolution of our knowledge, development and application capabilities. It's a huge challenge and requires very effective strategies in applying it. So here comes the question of scale. And when I was working at what's now NASA, I was actually an electrical engineer taking care of keeping the wind tunnels running. So the aeronautical scientists with their experiments in there were always very nice to me because, hey, keep it running, because they'd have to sign up for the use of that wind tunnel for a few days to run their experiment. And if the wind tunnel was down or something, they were out of luck. See, so well, if I was curious about questions like, hey, you're sending this funny little model here in your wind tunnel, and that's supposed to teach you what's going to happen when it's the size of a whole airplane? Oh yeah. Well, how in the world do you do that? Well, there's a whole science about scaling and dimensional scaling. And there are things called dimensionless numbers. There's a real configuration of the different parameters that are involved in it so that all the dimensions cancel out. And if that number stays constant, then the data you've gotten on this thing will hold in the way you interpret it for larger size. Oh, that's really fascinating. Well,